Hey YouTube world, Harvest is plenty. Thanks for stopping by to check out the video. Please don't forget to hit or smash that like button or thumbs up button for me. So I was preparing a video on home invasions, and then this happened.
Former Seattle Seahawk Richard Sherman says 3 home invasion robbery suspects in masks terrorized his family at gunpoint Saturday night. And as you can see, the whole thing was caught on camera. Good evening and thanks for joining us for the news at 10. I'm David Rose.
And I'm Nia Wong. Sherman posted video of the suspects on social media asking for the public's help to ID the group who traumatized his family.
Fox 13's Jennifer Dowling is live now with details on the case and what a local security expert has to say about this crime. Jen?
Good evening. That security expert says, though we don't know the full facts of what happened, it may be telling that it happened on the athlete's birthday. He wonders if the group was simply targeting high-end homes or if they were counting on Sherman to leave the house to celebrate that night.
It's a horrible and scary situation.
This security video posted by Richard Sherman's X account shows armed robbers streaming out of his home after threatening his wife and kids.
Nobody deserves to go through that.
Richard praised his wife on social media, writing, "House being robbed at gunpoint with my family in it isn't what anyone wants for a birthday gift. Scary situation that my wife handled masterfully and kept my kids safe." Fox 13's David Rose spoke with her on the phone. She told him that she is angry about what her kids had to go through. Security consultant Max Anderson says she did the right thing.
But from what I've seen, I would honestly say that they did everything right. They didn't put up a fight. They complied. You're going against multiple armed aggressors. That is an extremely dangerous situation.
Sherman says police told him that the suspects raided 5 other homes that night.
It's very likely that, the Sherman family lives in a nice neighborhood and that there was a group that went and burglarized or robbed multiple homes in that same community.
However, Anderson says investigators will still have to work to determine if it was an opportunistic attack or if Sherman's home was specifically targeted.
But I also have been in this world for a long time and I don't believe in coincidences.
He says the timing is hard to ignore.
It was Richard's birthday. And what we often see particularly when athletes are being targeted, is criminals will hit their home when they know or they have a high degree of confidence that the home is unoccupied.
His best advice to stay safe: use both physical and digital security services, which remove your address from online sites.
Nobody wants to be burglarized or robbed, particularly in your home. That's your sanctuary.
Wow. That must have been a very horrifying moment for Richard Sherman and his family, especially for Richard because he wasn't home. And his wife, she did well. She protected herself and the kids. According to the news, it said that they complied and they were not harmed. So thank God for that. A lot of times when people are confronted by robbers, the robbers just want to take stuff and get away. And so a lot of times, and you'll hear it, they'll say just comply, let them take what they need and let them, leave and be on their way. But there are some people, some walking psychopaths that are out there, real killers. And they may want more than your flat screen TV. They may want more than the jewelry and your cash. They may want your life. So what do you do about that? How do you protect, plan, and defend against that type of wolf that wants your life? I know a lot of people don't want to think about it. They like to bury their heads in the sand. But that's not reality. And we live in a real world where real crime happens. Real things happen all the time. Home invasions happen every day across America and in other countries. So it's something that we must talk about, think about, prepare, and plan for to prevent these things and pray against that these things ever happen to us. I have friends that I talk to about these type of things. Some of them, they prefer to not even think about it. I have friends who travel for work and they leave their wife and kids home because they're off, for work. They're traveling, going to this city or to that city or whatever, at work conferences or whatever the case may be, but they travel for work. And I always say, man, you're leaving your wife and kids home alone. If something was to happen while you're in another city, is your wife prepared to defend herself and the kids? Does she even know what to do? Did you create a plan? And they don't want to talk about it. Or they say, well, my wife don't like guns, so we don't have any guns in the house. And I said, okay, cool, because I can't tell anybody how to run their own household. You know, you run your house the way you run your house. I run my house the way I run my house. So I don't try to argue with people or debate anybody anymore. I'm beyond that. But that's something you need to think about. If you have a fiance, or if your elderly parents live with you, whoever, if someone breaks into your home and you're not there, what will they do? If they break into your home in the middle of the night and you are there, what will you do? I know people who have purchased firearms, and the firearms are unloaded, sitting in a safe, collecting dust. Someone breaks in 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, they have to get to their safe, unlock it, and then load their unloaded gun to prepare for a group of home invaders coming in the middle of the night. How much time will you lose trying to do that? You probably will be shot, captured, or killed by that time. What is your level of training? What is your level of skill? I think I'm going to start doing more videos just to talk through some of these things because it probably will be helpful. You know, the grid hasn't went down yet. There's no chaos yet. There's no highly coordinated Mumbai style attack in America yet. None of these things have happened yet. And we have home invasions taking place. Imagine when there's no water coming out of the taps. There's no gas coming through the pipes. There's no food left in Costco and Sam's Club and the local grocery stores. There's no money coming out the ATMs. Cell phone towers are not working. It's complete darkness because the power is out. The grid is down across the entire United States. How crazy do you think those times will be? Are you prepared for that? And so there's something that you need to think about, start talking about, planning for, preparing for. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put up more videos to talk through some things, think through some things, share some stories that I personally went through. I've never suffered a home invasion, but I've been to other people's houses when some things took place, and I want to share some of those stories with you. Because everybody who comes into your house unannounced doesn't need to be shot. I know a lot of people who say, if anybody breaks into my house or come into my house, I'm going to shoot them. Oh, really? Is that so? There are no shoot scenarios that happens all the time. And so it goes back to the question that I asked. What's your level of skill and what's your level of training? You know, in the firearms community, when I got trained, you know, we learned the basic rules or the basic firearm fundamentals. Always keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. Always point the gun in a safe place. Never point at anything you're not willing to kill or destroy. Always know what's in your background. You know, those type of things before you pull that trigger. Know what you're shooting at. You know, if you get into a gunfight inside of your home and bullets go through the window and hit your neighbor across the street, now you're into even more trouble. So you have to think about those things too. So what's your level of skill? Also, clearing your house. Some people say, if someone breaks into my house, I'm going to go get them. Okay, you could possibly do that. You know, are you going to clear your house like John Wick? Find them and stitch them up wherever you find them at? Or will you just grab your 300 blackout, take up a strong position, and then rifle them down as they come towards your bedroom? What are you going to do? I mean, I know what I'm going to do, but it's not about me. What are you going to do? Do you have a plan? For the women who live alone, there's a lot of women who are listening to this video who live alone. Do you have a plan? If you're by yourself and it's 1 o'clock in the morning and your door is kicked in or your window somebody come crashing through your window, what do? Do you lock yourself in the bedroom and grab your cell phone and dial 911? What do you do? Remember, also, these criminals, they have these jamming devices. I did a video about that. I know a lot of people who say, well, I got cameras, I got security cameras. That's cool. But these criminals have these jammers. They could jam your Ring doorbell camera and every other camera in your house, especially if it's wireless, and your cell phone. So what happens if someone hits your house in the middle of the night using a jammer and you can't even use your cell phone? Most people don't even have landlines anymore. And so now you're stuck. What do? Do you know your neighbors? If your neighbors hear gunfire coming from your house in the middle of the night, 2, 3 in the morning, will they come to your aid? Or will they just stay in their house and dial 911? You know what they say, when seconds count, police are minutes away. I always said you should know your neighbors because there's strength in numbers, and then put a plan together with your neighbors. Also, if someone invades their house, will you come to their aid in the middle of the night? Do you have the skill set to do that? What's your level of training? I'm asking that again. So a lot of things to talk about, a lot of things to think about. Again, I pray that we are all covered in the blood of Jesus, and that none of these evil things ever come to our house, come to our community. You know, think about Psalms 91. Read it, internalize it, pray it. You know, that nothing comes near your dwelling. But I will continue to put up some more videos and talk about some things with you guys. I have Clint Emerson coming on. Please make sure that you watch this video. He has some helpful tips for you. Take what you can, discard the rest. But Clint, he knows his stuff. All right, I love you guys. I will continue to pray for you. You guys pray for me and mine. Check out his video. I will be back with more content. God bless to you and your family.
Hi, my name is Clint Emerson, retired Navy SEAL and now crisis management professional. Today I'm going to provide you with some valuable tips on how to survive a home invasion. There are an estimated 3,000 home invasions per day in America alone, so please listen and follow my tips. They could save your life. Before we discuss home invasion, first I'm going to talk about how to prevent it altogether. And then if it does happen, I'll give you some tips on how to survive it. A good security perimeter starts with the 4 Ds: deter, detect, deny, and defend. D number 1 is deter. You want bad guys, when they look at your home, look at your property, to go, never mind, I don't want anything to do with that place. And the way you do that is light it up. Illumination is a great tool to keep bad guys away. And if they do approach, and let's say they're standing along a wall at your home, they're gonna feel naked because the light's shining on them. Your neighbors will be able to see what's going on around your home at any given moment and call 911 for you, which is the ultimate goal, is to get third parties to help you, because if you're inside, you're not going to know that they're lurking outside. So light up your property. One thing for sure, bad guys do not like unpredictable events. You need to add some unpredictable things to your lifestyle. That could be something as simple as kids' toys on the front porch or in the front yard. Or it could be the fact that you have dogs. But if you don't have dogs, well then you could put up maybe some beware of dogs stickers or signs to elude that you have dogs. If you don't have kids, then maybe lean a skateboard up against the wall near your front door. But one thing for certain, bad guys want nothing to do with a home that they can't figure out the pattern of life for. And so if you've got kids and you've got dogs, great. If you don't, then pretend you do. It'll keep them away. Another way to deter them is to have the illusion of robust security. And that can be as simple as alarm stickers on your windows or even a security sign in your front yard. Detecting the bad guys has become relatively easy these days because technology has become inexpensive and readily available. The security systems can do everything from not just detecting the bad guy, but identifying them and hopefully getting them detained. A lot of times the cameras that come with these security systems actually are pretty high quality, they're inexpensive, but keep in mind, a technician who installs them isn't necessarily a security guy. So you've got to be conscious of where you place these things. For example, if you have a camera at your front door, but you know the sun rises or sets right on that front door, well, that's going to affect the camera and the quality of the imagery that it can grab. So make sure you put your cameras in places that can get ID quality. Another mistake is a lot of times cameras are installed so that when you look at it on your phone or an iPad or your laptop, you see this cool image of your entire living room or maybe the whole backyard. But that's not going to get you ID quality of the bad guy. You've got to put those cameras in a place that get the proper field of view so you get ID quality of the bad guy. The easiest way to detect bad guys, and it's something that's kind of gone away, is simply by talking to your neighbors. It takes a village, especially when it comes to security. So take time to get to know your neighbors, let them know when you're coming and going. After you build a good relationship and trust, then you can look out for one another. And if you see something odd, it's as easy as a text to let them know that, hey, I think I see something weird in your backyard, or hey, there's something going on down the street. But by communicating with one another in your neighborhood is really the first way and the best way to detect any anomalies or bad guys that might be cruising through. All right, let's talk about deny. Now that is just keep them out and do whatever it takes to do so. And we always think about doors and windows, but let's start with the garage. Believe it or not, most bad guys go to the big garage door as their first point of entry. And the reason being is they know they can get into the garage and into the home through the garage pedestrian door because most of the time it's left unlocked. So, lock that inside door just to be safe. A lot of times you have a garage door with a garage door opener on it, which uses a remote and draws the garage door up and then draws it back down when you leave. If you ever take a look at a garage door opener, there's a cable hanging down with a handle on it. And that's so you can disengage the garage door opener and then freely open and close the garage manually. Now, when the garage is closed, that cable is hanging dangerously close to the skin of the inside of the garage and the wall. What bad guys will do is they'll take a hanger, they'll straighten it out, put a little hook at the end, and they'll feed it in between the top of the garage door and the garage door frame. And by doing so, it allows them to grab that garage door emergency release and pull on it and disengage the garage door opener. That allows a bad guy now to open the door from the outside, and then he can go in the garage and close it behind him and be inside your house doing whatever he wants without anybody ever knowing. So the way to prevent this is either take that garage door release handle and cut it off, or you can move it all the way up to the top and zip tie it into a bundle. Whatever you do, you just want to make sure that it can't be hooked, and that's really what you're trying to do there. So now as we move around to the, let's say the front door, one, you want like a solid core door or an aluminum door. And then we also think about locks. But what's more important than locks is actually all the hardware holding everything in place. Usually when a door is installed, it uses really short screws on the hinges, the strike plate, and also anything that holds the lock in place inside the door. What you want to do is go around and replace all the screws with 3.5-inch wood screws and really anchor down the hinge points. All those hinges, there's usually 3 of them. Replace all the screws, then move to the other side of the door and replace the strike plate and all the screws holding the lock in place with 3.5-inch wood screws. What that does is it reinforces the integrity of all those things that are keeping people out. And the last thing you want to do is add 3.5-inch wood screws on the locking side into the door frame itself about every foot, up the door and down the door from the strike plate. So now, when the bad guy kicks your door in, it's going to probably take him, depending on his strength, 5 to 10 times, just because you reinforced it, which puts time on your side. Next, windows. These days they make all kinds of different films that can go on your windows that are actually used for hurricanes. But what's great about them is you can throw a brick at these films once they're on a window and it won't break the window. There are some films out there that actually stop bullets. So it's pretty low cost and it goes on like tent. Nobody will know it's there, but it will prevent your windows from being penetrated. If you are the victim of a home invasion, now it's time to defend yourself, which is D number 4. A good defense starts with a plan, and your plans do not need to be complicated. In fact, keep them simple. It really boils down to 3 things. Having meeting places, both inside the house and outside the house. These are like rally points where everyone in the family is going to consolidate so that you can get a good head count and ensure everybody is safe. The second piece is routes. That's pretty self-explanatory. That's how you get to the meeting points. Have primary and secondary routes. Sometimes that includes going out a window, so keep that in mind. Third, communication. Make sure everyone can communicate with one another. Someone upstairs may hear something and they can send a text to everybody else in the house. Or it's something more like setting off the alarm and everybody knows, all right, something's bad happening, let's get out of here. Defense also includes defending yourself. And in the unlikely event you're in this position, you do have to do some more pre-planning. I like to call it a tactical nightstand. We all know that we are most vulnerable when we are asleep. So having everything readily available next to you is a good idea. That's everything from a flashlight, a weapon of some sort, a way to maybe even set off your car alarm, so make sure your car keys are nearby. And of course, make sure you got a cell phone that's fully charged all the time, ready to call 911. Some of the weapons you could have in your tactical nightstand is everything from a pistol to bear spray, to hornet spray, I mean, you name it. Anything that causes or inflicts pain against that bad guy at a distance. If they get really close and you find yourself in a fight, well then yeah, you could have a sap, you could have a roll of quarters in your hand. There's tasers and even a baseball bat. It's up to you, but make sure whatever weapons you choose, you're comfortable with and that you know how to use them, because the last thing you want is them being taken from you and used against you. If you find yourself in a position where you're grabbing a weapon and actually fighting for your life, remember, that's exactly what it is. You have to fight for your life, meaning your violence has to be equal to or greater than your adversaries. So you give it everything you've got. Make sure you keep your wits about you. The goal is to inflict pain, incapacitate, knock them out, whatever it takes so that you can get distance between you and the bad guy. Remember, increased distance increases survivability. There are 2 kinds of predators. There's the ones that want your stuff, and then there's the ones that want you. The ones that want your stuff come during the day. The ones that want you come at night. No matter the time of day or the kind of predator that decides to try and break into your home, take time to implement just some of these tips and you'll be much better off just in case that home invasion happens to you.